Hey everybody, glad you found the channel. Now I know, man, it's been a long time since I last posted on this channel. My last post was my first post about the disassemble and reassembly of the Charles Daly and Forrest 12-gauge shotgun semi-automatic. I'm not going to go into here what's happened since then. I'm going to do a separate video because it's going to take about 15 minutes or so to explain it, and I don't want to lengthen this video any more than I want to or have to. So look for that. You'll find out what happened to me, what happened to the channel, and where we're going to go with this thing. If I look a little bit squinty, I'm doing it at night. It's like 2 in the morning. I have some lights on back there. Well, about blinding me to death, but we'll get it done. Just like the title says. What we're going to do, I would normally say today, but like I said, it's 2 o'clock in the morning. We're going to eventually install a locker down console safe in my 2017 Nissan pickup truck. Okay? Now, in my last video, I waited all the way to the end to tell you how I felt about the product. I'm not going to do that this time. I'm going to tell you right up front. I ain't wild about this product. It's like locker down, got right up to the 2-yard line, fumbled the ball, never recovered. I understand some of the things they did and why they did them, but it's not meeting my needs 100% without modification, and I indeed modified this thing to make it work for me, okay? Be real careful if you do any modifications, because I'm pretty daggone sure they won't take it back if you can't get it to work. There is another company called consolvault.com. That's consolvault.com. And they make one similar to Lockerdown, and from what I understand, it's a little bit bigger, and it will solve the problems that I'm encountering with this. Now, I'm not going to explain them to you. I'm going to wait till we get out to the truck, come daylight, and I'll show you the console, show you how this thing dry fits without any modifications whatsoever, and why I am not happy with it. But let's get on to what the product is and how it works, okay? You're going to get it in this nice big box here. Pretty good little box here, well shipped. No problems with that. And you'll pull out some paperwork. First thing you're going to get pulled out, at least from people I bought it from, was the invoice. And that's another thing about this. That's one of the things that kind of irks me a little bit, considering you don't quite go across the goal line, is this bad boy cost me $360 some odd dollars. Okay, that's $360 some odd dollars. If you go online and you look at Locker Down, I think they sell them, but I know they have distributors. I bought from sharptruck.com. sharptruck.com, and they've been very helpful. I've had no problem with those guys. So anything I say negative about this thing does not reflect or should not reflect onto this thing. And by the way, I ain't getting no money from anybody doing this evaluation of this thing. I would kind of bet they wouldn't really want me to do this evaluation, but life is life, okay? I'm just telling it like it is and how it can be improved. All right, so you're going to get your little invoice. That's going to be in there. And then you're going to get a packet. Now in this packet is 1, 2, 3 important things. First thing that's going to be in here is a little push pin for setting the combination if you have the tumbler combination like I went with. Okay, if you got key combination, and we'll talk about that in a minute, what your options are. If you got the key style, obviously you'll get keys, or whatever. And also, one of the things you'll get in here is self-tapping screws. And this is something Locker Down, I can't blame Locker Down for, because this is a Nissan thing, all right? Nissan in their console, directly underneath it, has a couple of electronic modules in a pit. You can't see them because the console plastic bottom covers them, but there's some modules underneath there, and if you drill through there, you're going to mess it up. Now, if you get one of these things and you're putting it in your Nissan and you change the drilling positions, you need to go and talk to your Nissan dealer or whatever and find out if you drill there, are you going to have any problems. Don't drill in there, short something out, and blame me, all right? Check it out. Talk to your own Nissan dealer, because when I called mine, it took about 2 or 3 calls before I got somebody had even a clue what the console was, much less if I could drill into it. I'm not the brightest people in the world. Okay, but you're going to get some lockdown screws. If you look at the installation videos with Fords and Chevys and even Tundras and a few other things like that, you'll see that their console has either a 2 or 4 bolt combination, either a 2 or 4 bolt combination. And by that, you take those bolts out, they'll give you some new bolts, okay? You drop the thing in, you bolt it in, ta-da, you're done. Simple, just that simple. With this, you got to put screws in, all right? And you got to tap into the side. So you need to think about that. I plan to keep that truck. She never runs, falls apart, ain't nothing going to happen. So if I've got some screw holes in the inside the console, it's not going to make any difference because, like I said, it's going to be there till the day I die and my nephew or somebody drives off with a daggum truck. It's, you know, hey, I'm not worried about it. And then the next thing that's in here, since I bought the 4 tumbler combination, are the instructions to setting the combination. And we're going to talk about that a little bit more when I show you the tumbler and that kind of neat stuff, all right? Very important. Follow the instructions. Many ways to skin a rabbit. Rabbits don't like it, but follow the instruction. All right. There's going to be a label on the side here, as you can see. It's going to tell you some neat stuff like it's 12 gauge steel. You know, it's got a durable black textured powder coat finish. It's got spring loaded hinges. I really like those, and I'll explain to you why. It's got a simple do-it-yourself installation. It really is simple if you don't make any mods. I mean, it's simple if you don't make mods. All of them are simple if you don't make mods, to tell you the truth, though. One thing I disagree with, attaches to factory mounting holes. There are no factory mounting holes. With this case, with a 2016 to 2021, I think it is, Nissan Titan, you have to use the self-tapping screws, okay? And lifetime replacement warranty. I guess it's lifetime replacement up until you put some extra holes in it like I did. I don't know, all right? But nonetheless, even if it fit right and it did what I wanted it to do, I would still put a couple holes in it because I wanted to put some magnets in there to hold my weapons, all right? So let's take this thing out nice and gentle. This bad boy, I mean, it ain't, you're gonna get muscles lifting it, but it ain't light either. But the bad thing is, let me get back down here again. The bad thing is, it's got some sharp edges. I already put a dadgum good scratch on my console rim there, and that kind of torques me off, but not their fault, my fault. All right. Boom. I know you missed my pretty face. All right. You notice it comes with some pretty dadgum good styrofoam. It is my understanding that when these first came out, and by the way, this is the Locker Down Extreme. This is not the first version. This is the improved version called the Extreme. And I think it's the only one they sell now. But if you do order one, just don't fill it out online. Call whoever you're going to buy it from and make sure you're getting the Extreme, or it clearly says so, okay? And I'll explain to you why they call it Extreme. But you can see they got some pretty good shipping stuff here. And the reason for that is, it's my understanding, as I was starting to say, that when they first came out, they wrapped them in bubble wrap, shoved them in the box, and had some problems with delivery where the sharp edges would eat their way out the box or bend the metal or whatever. So they went with these, and now everything is copacetic. Do not throw these away. You're going to need at least one of them or something similar to set your combinations, and we'll get to that. All right. I sure hope you can see this because I can't, like I said, I'm doing this thing here by myself. Steelberg's job is safe. I still got the same old camera, and I still got the same old program that I dealt with when I did the N4S, so, you know, duh. All right, one thing you'll notice, here's the top, here's your combination. Obviously you got 4 sides. Ain't no bottom. There is no bottom. Again, that's a Nissan thing. Why? I'm suspecting they did that just to save money and to save metal, because there's no bolts going through the bottom. They're going to be going through these side holes here. Okay, front and back, you're going to pop some screws through there, self-tap into that plastic, and that'll be pretty good on getting it out. It's a tight fit. It's probably not as secure as one would be in a Ford or a Chevy. Okay, if somebody really wanted to tear up your dadgum console, they could probably get it out. But, you know, let's face it, anything you put in the way of a lock or a safe, a lock or a combination lock or key lock, padlock or whatever, that's only to keep honest and people want to have the urge to see if they can steal something. Professionals, hell, they'll just take the dadgum truck and work on it there, but they're going to have to tear up your console to get it out, all right? So there's no bottom. You don't need the bottom. The bottom is actually the bottom of the console itself. Now, one of the things it mentioned was a spring. I mean, watch this. I love that. Now, why do I love that little feature? You notice how it pops right open there, no problem. Good, strong back spring. The thing I like about that is if I'm driving down the highway, and for some reason, or even if I'm sitting in a parking lot, some guy's coming up with me with a baseball bat with intent to do bodily harm or beat the heck out of my truck or whatever, or me, then I don't want to have to be trying to hold this bad boy open with my elbow while I'm trying to get down in there and get my weapon out or anything like that, all right? Now, I know some of you are saying, well, why would you have your weapon down there anyway? It's real simple. If I'm going locally, I don't have to have my weapon. I carry it on me, yada, 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 yada. But the minute I start to travel from North Carolina, interstate, from state to state to state, there's a law that comes in, okay? Let me find that law. Okay, I found it. I'm sorry about that. I thought I had it laying out here and I left it in the living room. The law is 18, the number 18, USC, Uniform Sierra Charlie, 926A, 926 Alpha. So it's 18 USC 926 Alpha. And what that law deals with is the transfer or transportation, let's use the right word, transportation of weapons in between states. All right? Going to read it to you if you don't mind, because I don't want to paraphrase it, but I'm going to read what I found on the internet, and if this is wrong, it's straight off the internet, so if you find something wrong with what I'm reading here, let me know down below, but remember, I'm just reading what I read. And I don't like the way it opens up because it causes confusion right off the bat. Well, don't most laws. It says, notwithstanding any other provision or any law or any rule or regulation of a state or political subdivision thereof. Is this a federal law or is it not? Apparently it's a mushy law. But it goes on to say, any person who is not otherwise prohibited by this chapter from transporting, shipping, or receiving a firearm shall be entitled to transport a firearm for lawful purposes from any place where he may lawfully possess and carry such a firearm to any other place where he may lawfully possess and carry such a firearm. In other words, if I'm allowed to carry here in North Carolina, okay, I can put it in this box, travel through 4 or 5 states, end up in a state that has a reciprocity that agrees with North Carolina and we agree with them, and then I can pull it out of this box, put it on my person, and I can carry it. All right? If during such transportation the firearm must be unloaded and neither the firearm nor the ammunition being transported is readily accessible or directly accessible to the passenger compartment of such transporting vehicle. Now, think about that. This is apparently written by a city slicker riding around in a car. It's got a back seat and it's got a trunk, and that's where they expect you to put the ammo in the trunk. They never thought about pickup trucks, it doesn't sound like to me. So if you do something and if you've heard anything, put it down in the comments below. My thought is, I would love to keep the ammo in here. It would be safe, but that doesn't meet the requirement. They're supposed to be separated. And the gun is supposed to be unloaded. And I'm going to tell you something about that here in a minute. Alright. Alright, so neither the firearm nor the ammunition being transported can be directly accessible, provided that in case of vehicle without a compartment separated by the driver's compartment, the firearm or ammunition may be contained in a locked container other than the glove compartment or console. Firearm or ammunition. Now that would seem to me locked, safe. I can put them both in there together. But don't know. I mean, everything's open for interpretation. To give you an example, and this is actually pretty clear. My nephew has a buddy. Both of them were Navy SEALs, okay? And his buddy was traveling interstate. He got stopped back up for some reason. I don't know. Going too fast. I don't know. Looking too pretty like me. I don't know. He just got stopped. All right? And he did like he was supposed to do. Hello, officer. Here's my ID. Here's my concealed carry license. I'm traveling from such and such to such and such. And I have a weapon on board, and here's my paperwork. And the cop said, thank you very much. Is it loaded? And he said, well, yes, sir. Is there one in the tube? Well, yes, sir. Well, you're under arrest. And he arrested him and put him in jail for like 2 or 3 days. It cost him a lot of money to get out on bail and let him continue on out. All right? Interstate travel, loaded weapon, no. Now, the cop could have been nice and said, hey, look, brother, in case you don't know this, thank you for your service, by the way. In case you don't know this, you're not supposed to carry it with a load. It's supposed to be unloaded, and that is accordance with 18 USC 926 Alpha. All right, I don't want to get too locked up into things like that, but that's the reason I'm getting this. And I would never, ever, when traveling, leave my weapon in this thing overnight. It goes into the hotel, motel, whatel with me. And then what goes in here is all my dash cams and GPS and everything else goes in here. And maybe my money for tolls and all that kind of good stuff. So, that's why I'm putting this bad boy in there. Alright, but it's pretty solid. It's a good 12 gauge. It's got a great spring for opening up. You don't have to hold it up with your elbow, okay? You notice that there's a cutout right here. I know it's dang hard to see, being black as it is. Let's see, does this help? You see that? You see that cutout right there? All right, that, and you'll see the console when I go out and video the console. When you open up the lid, so to speak, and you look down, on the right-hand side, the passenger side, there's a trench. Don't know what it's for. I went down to where I bought my Nissan. I said, what's this trench for? Nobody knew. One guy said, can you put coins in there? I said, won't fit. Not all coins. I don't know. So there's a trench. Don't know why it's there, but it's there, okay? And then forward, going toward the front of the car, there's a little ledge that comes out. And in the left-hand corner, over by the driver, me, there is a DC plug where you get your DC power, all right? So this allows you to not cover that up and still have access to your DC power. That's what they say. When we go out and look at it, the dry fit, no modification, we'll see that there's actually a different story to that. All right? So there you go. You got all that stuff right there. Now, I got the 4-digit combination. Okay? And what I'm going to do is go up, grab the camera, because you're not going to be able to see this daggum thing. Oh, before I do that though, remember I said you can find these things for about $366 at a number of different sites, maybe $5, $10 difference. Okay, that's the base price. That is the base price with this combination. If you get a locker down, you can get the 4-digit combination at the base price of $466. There is a tubular key lock, one of them round keys like you see on soda machines. You've seen those. And that's going to up at about $50, $60. You can get an abloy, A-B-L-O-Y key, which is, I'm thinking that's round 2, but it's just a better metal, harder to drill. And that's going to up at about 70 bucks. And if you're just sitting out there with money, you can't figure out what to do, well, first of all, message me and I'll send you my address. You can send me some. But you can get the electronic key lock. And that thing kind of borders on ridiculousness in two ways to me. It will allow you to set a 15-digit, 5, 10, 15-digit combination if you want to. Good Lord, I don't know why you'd want to. I just love to see a bunch of guys coming up with baseball bats and you're trying to punch in 15 digits and get them right the first time when your adrenaline's up and you're trying to get to your weapon for some goofy reason, okay? Now, do you have to do 15? No, you can do, I think the minimum you can do is 3. I'm not positive, don't hold me to court on that. But, you put a 4-digit combination in there or a 5-digit, like the year you were born or something like that, something easy you remember, and you'd be good to go. You don't have to do all 15. However, that bad boy comes in, and it's battery operated, by the way, so you got to change batteries every now and then. Yeah, but that bad boy comes in at $150 more. So at $366 to $150, you've busted $500. And that is too rich for my blood. That is just too daggone rich for my blood. I can't do that. All right. So what I'm going to do is I want to go up, get the camera, and get it close up here on this lock. Even when I do that, I don't know if you're going to be able to see that when you lock it right here. I think I'm not going to waste time moving the camera. When you lock it, there is a hole right here on the side. And what you do is you take that punch thing and you punch that in gently, and you set your combination that you want to set. Now, I know what I just said, but that ain't the way you ought to do it. One of my lowly jobs when I was a lowly second lieutenant in the Army, I had a crypto room. Now, some of you vets out there know what a crypto room is. That's where you keep your codes, your radio book, call sign books, and all that. They're called CEOIs, SOIs, whatever. Your equipment, some of your small, classified equipment, everything like that. I had a wall with 8 huge Diebold safes, combination safes. We had to change them combinations every 3 months. Oh Lord, trying to keep up with those combinations. Well, there's a trick to it, which I ain't going to tell you here. But nonetheless, one of the things you learn very quickly by listening to others, never set your combination with the door shut. Remember I said save you one of these things here? Set it like that. Get this hole exposed on the side, push it in. And what this thing will tell you to do is set your first combination, because it's all set to 0. Then set your first combination. And you'll find that each of the tumblers are numbered 1, 2, 3, 4. All right? The tumblers are numbered. So let's say you're going to put in the combination 1950. And on number 1, you'd put in the 1. Okay? You turn it to the left, and you turn it back to the right. Just follow the instructions. They'll tell you how to turn it and when to turn it. And then you want to try and test it, make sure it works. Test it several times. Change one of the zeros to something. Does it lock it? Change it back. Will it unlock? Change the 1 that you just put in on position 1. Change it to another number. Does it lock it? Change it back to 1. Does it unlock it? Do that at least 10 or 15 times. All right? And go through that long, lengthy process for each and every one. I'm going to tell you right now. You're going to see a car dealer out there on one of the videos who has the exact same style of 4-digit tumbler combination, set all 4 of them at one time. Now, what's the problem with that? The problem with that is, if there's a mistake, which one is it? And you don't know, do you? Because you've set all 4, you don't know, was it position 3 that was just off a tad? Is it position 4 was just off a tad? Which position? So if you set them one at a time, and you got 1 set, 2 set, but 3's giving you a problem, hey, you're good to go. You know it's 3, all right? And you can work with 3. There's no guessing about it whatsoever. So I really don't watch those videos out there that just sets them all at one time. There's a couple of videos out there to do that. Follow the instructions. Set them one at a time. Test them several times with that door open. Put a piece of thing in there. Put you a towel in there. I don't care. Put something in there where you cannot do it. And then, you know, does it work? Does it work? Does it work? You know, change it one little thing. Ah, it's locked. It's locked. Change it back. Does it work? It's working. All right. That will save you a very big headache. All right. So what we're going to do at this point, oh, why did they call this the Extreme? Like I said, this thing's made out of 12 gauge steel, and it is formidable. It's pretty good. But up here in the upper section, they welded 10 gauge to the 12 gauge, okay, and made this top totally unreal. I mean, and when you lock it, you know, getting a screwdriver underneath there, can you do it if you got a big hammer? I don't know. I'm not going to try it out, okay? The warranty won't cover that. If they took a hammer and whacked the dickens out of that, what would happen? I don't know. I'm not going to find out. It is plastic. So, you know, can you get in these things? Sure, you can get into them. Is it going to stop a professional? No. Is it going to stop somebody with a big hammer? Probably not. But will it give you at least 80% more security than you had before? Yes, it will. So it's an awful small little safe, you know, for $366. But that's the way things work nowadays, isn't it? All right. So what we're going to do then at this point is we will go outside, and I will drop this bad boy in with no modifications. All right. First of all, I'm going to show you the console so you can see what the console looks like. Then I'll drop this thing in so you can see how it fits. And then I'm going to point out about 2 or 3 little things that I do not like about it. Maybe even 4, I can't remember. But that I don't like about it, and why maybe I should have gotten the other one. And hey, Console Vault, if you're out there, or somebody from Console Vault's out there, get hold of me, send me one. I'll take this bad boy out and do an eval on yours and put it out here. I mean, I know I ain't viral yet, or if ever, but we'll see what happens. Point is, this is what I ended up with, and I had to make some modifications to make it work, and you'll see what those are. Okay? All right. See you out at the car. Well, the truck. It's a daggum Titan. Titan's a truck. We all know that. Hey, Sandra. And for you guys who don't know who Sandra is, Sandra watched my other video and said I kind of reminded her of her crazy old dad, and she enjoyed watching it. So, hope you're out there, Sandra. All right, now here's a combination on top, and you can see that little hole right there. That looks real white. That's just the light reflection off coming out from behind me. I got my lights up behind me there. But there's a little hole right there, and they give you that push pin. Push pin goes into the hole. You push it gently. You'll feel a spring go in. You set your first combination, pull it out, and it'll tell you which way to turn it, then to turn it back, and test it. Test it several times. Give it a good spin. Make sure it still works with the other 3 in the 0 position if that's your first one. Go to the second one. Do the same thing with the second one. Just follow the instructions. What the instructions don't tell you is to test it 10-15 times. I'm telling you to test it 10-15 times. Give each one a good spin. Send it around. Make sure everything locks in real good. Do not do them all at once. Please don't do that. You'll regret it. Or not, but probably. All right, here we are out in the truck. It's going to be a little shaky because it's handheld. I'm sorry. But this is the console itself. It's obviously the little lid that goes on top. All right. Yeah. Not a lot of light out here, so we're going to let this thing here adjust a little bit.
There's a pencil down in there to give you an idea of the size. To the top side of the pencil of the screen would be the trench that I told you about. No one knows what it's for. And you can see to the left side there, bottom left, the DC hookup part where you would hook that piece in. I'm going to slide the case in now and show you what it looks like with the case inside there. Alright, you can see the safe set in there. Yeah, I know it's hard to see with a lack of light and everything, but it's hard to get light in this truck. There's almost a full hand width of height between here and here. That creates a problem. It's hard to tell again, but trust me when I tell you, these edges are pretty tight. Alright, they're pretty good on that. You open it up. You can see down in there now. Let me show you one of the problems I'm having. I've got a full-size 9mm right here. Can you notice what's going on? It's hard to tell with that handle sticking up. Even if you tilt it, the top right here sticking up. You cannot close the safe with a full-size 9mm. It is just not going to work. All right, so that's unsatisfactory to me. So what I'm going to do is go in, put on the modifications, bring it back out, and show you what it looks like. But before I do, there's one more thing I want to point out. That DC voltage thing, right? Obviously there's a wire. Now if you close that, tell me where's that wire coming out? There is nowhere for that wire to come out at all whatsoever, okay? You have to leave this thing open or whatever, and if you stop somewhere like to gas up or to go in and eat or something like that, or go to the post office, you're going to have to pull that and pull it out. So that's unsatisfactory to me. All right, they didn't think that all the way through. So what I'm going to do is pull this bad boy out and go check, go put on the modifications, and I'll bring it back and show you what we got, how it sets, and then I'll take it back inside and I'll show you the modifications that I put on it. Alright, I decided to show you this outside for basically 2 reasons. 1, the other half is watching Outlander, and 2, I don't want to die disrupting her while she watches Outlander. Okay. But basically what I have done is I've put a wooden spacer level with the front and painted it black with acrylic paint. And these screws that you see just slightly sticking through are the ones that's going to go into the plastic. This piece of wood is basically screws holding on, and by the way, here's the other one on the other side. So took a basic measurement, and that's one good thing about having wood tools. I was able to keep planing it and keep planing it and keep planing it till it worked. Because inside, that second one has got screws that's holding, let's see, can you see that? There's magnets here, there's magnet there, okay? There's some really strong, powerful magnets, and what they do is basically hold the weapon in an upright position. So let me go put it in and show you how it worked out. Alright, here we go. This is what it looks like with the modifications on and inside the console itself. Notice the difference in the height, right? Lots more height with that. Now the reason they made it so low, and I actually read where a guy complained about it, you get this tray, and he was all upset that he couldn't use his tray. You know what? I don't give a rodent's anus about that tray. I care about secure storage area. Now one thing that I did that I failed to mention out there on the tailgate was right here. And one of those wooden pieces going across, I ran a little dado. Dado is nothing more than a trench, okay? That's all it is. That way the wire can go down in there. And I got some cleaning up to do, some tightening up of the wire, no big deal. But let's take a look now. Yeah, them some magnets, I'm telling you. There she sits. There she closes. Sorry about the wavering there. I know I'm off center a little bit. Now I can watch a little bit better. Bottom line is, there's my full size 9 meg. All I gotta do is twist it with my right hand. I'm using my left because I got my camera in my right. And there she goes. And I have one on that side too, so my other half can carry her weapon. And she has a full size 22 and a subcompact 9mm, so it depends on which one she wants to carry at the time. So there you go. I got plenty of room down there for stuff and everything, so I'm happy with it like this. It closes right. Whoop, let's get the right one. There we go. It's up here. There goes that one. And there goes that one. And you wouldn't know it was there until you came in and popped it open and went, ah, crap, look what I have to deal with now. Now, needless to say, as we're driving down the road, even on a trip going interstate, that thing will be unlocked. So all I have to do is just turn the dial and let it pop up, okay? If I need to get my weapons or whatever, or even toll money as far as that goes. Should I hear the whoa of a siren or end up having to go inside somewhere, I'll just reach down and flick a couple of the dials and lock it up to where if the trooper says, you know, it's locked up in the safe, sir, you know, just to cover that. But 2 little pieces of wood, which doesn't sound like a big deal, but yeah, you got to keep planing them to get them to the right height to where you want them. And then putting those screws in, I don't want to say it's fun, but it can be a challenge. So what I'm going to do is go inside and we'll do a little summary, and got a couple more things I want to tell you about it.
All right there, sports fans. We just installed it. You saw how it looked. Did you notice for sure the difference between how deep it set, how much space there was? There was like a full hand length, okay? And that tray didn't take all that. It didn't need all that. Brought it up to where there was only about that much space, and the door, or the lid, however you want to call it, to the truck, still closed over the top of the console safe. If anybody from Lock Her Down was watching, I'd say, hey, I know it's too expensive to have 2 versions of this thing, no doubt about it. But you could come up with a $10 or $12 package of spacers that screw in, okay, and just little plastic ones that screw in that would allow it to drop down and give the height to give maximum depth, all right, so that you could put a full-size 9mm. I had that much space left at the bottom, so it gives me a lot more room. And there's some people I know, they're gonna cry, they want that little tray, and I told you how I felt about that. Don't care, don't need it. That's just something else. And had I left it low, I know it would only been a matter of time before I threw a bunch of junk in there. Next thing I knew, I couldn't find the safe, all right? So I like it up high. I don't need that tray. I'll save the tray just in case the next guy, whoever gets the truck wants it, that, you know, whatever. I'm not worried about that tray. I want maximum secure space. Now, one thing I didn't tell you about Lock Her Down was it's an American company. Well, they stole our jobs. Well, that's a little South Park reference there for you. They're out of San Antonio, Texas, in case you don't know where San Antonio is. Flunk history or in geography. But they're out of San Antonio, Texas, and it's American made, and it's a good product. It was just needed a little bit more refining in my book for my needs. Your needs? You're not putting a full 9mm in there? A subcompact will work for you? go for it. Then it saves all trouble. You just drop it in, you put the 4 screws, and you're off and running. All right, so I added the magnets, a magnet on the left, a magnet on the right. Both held up the full 9, no problem. Went around the side with wood, just did 2 sides. I didn't try to split the difference. That would have been a nightmare, okay? So just 2 sides. And put that little dado, that little channel in the side toward me, the driver's side, where the DC voltage cord could come out. All right, so my choice is if that thing ceases to function, that little DC charger thing has got 3 plugs in the back now. If that ever ceases to function, my decision is do I want to pull that, or do I just want to cut it, fish the cable down, splice it back together and go? That's it. All right, so hopefully that was helpful to you. Don't forget, this is Locker Down out of San Antonio, and there is another one called consolvaults.com, and they have one as well, and I've never seen it, but one of the guys that evaluated that one, you know how they send in letters and they write up evals and all that kind of good stuff, complained that he couldn't get his tray back in. He couldn't use his tray. So that had to bring it up. I have no idea how thick the top is on that one. Like I said, Console Vaults, send me one. I will take that all the way out and put yours in and give you an eval, but as Locker Down found, it's going to be an honest one, all right? Maybe yours is meet the needs of me and other people better, but might not be built as well. I don't know. I don't know anything about consolvaults.com and their version of it, okay? So, enjoy. Hope that helped you. I know that accessory makers don't like to make things for Titans for some reason. You can find tons of junk for Fords, tons of junk for Chevys, but trying to find something for a Titan, that can be kind of tough. But hopefully this helped you out. Catch you on the next video.